Meanwhile, explosions were heard and smoke could be seen rising from buildings near the airport in the Lebanese capital of Beirut in the early hours of Wednesday. The Israeli military said it was striking Hezbollah targets in Beirut. The Israeli military had issued new orders for evacuation in the southern suburbs of Beirut early on Wednesday, warning in a statement that it will hit Hezbollah targets in buildings there. And amidst the escalation, Israel's neighbors closed airspace with many seeking diversions. According to the tracking service Flight Radar 24, flights diverted anywhere they could. A snapshot of regional traffic showed flights spreading in wide arcs to the north and south, with many converging on Cairo and Turkey. Flight Radar 24 said Istanbul and Antalya in southern Turkey were becoming congested, forcing some airlines to divert south. Many airlines diverted or suspended flights to the region or are avoiding use of affected airspace. And for more, we have Akshay Dongre joining us on this. Well, Akshay, West Asia is now standing at the edge of war as Netanyahu says Iran will pay for missile barrage, and Iran is warning of stronger attacks in case of retaliation. Where can we see all this going? Fears of regional escalation growing into a wider war?
Well, the escalation has already taken place from from all the angles that we are seeing in the West Asian region, be it at the Lebanon front, the Yemen front. Attacks have been carried out inside Yemen as well. There are a lot of militants in Syria that have been threatening not just Israel but other countries in the region as well, as far as this conflict is concerned. Now, with a large power coming head to head with Israel, we're talking about Iran and Israel. Both countries are considered major powers of West Asia. They hold a significant power as far as military power is concerned, economic power is concerned. And if these two countries have an open war, then it can destabilize the entire region as we all know it. But what happened last night, it can be interpreted in two ways. One is a simpler way to see that how Iran attacked Israel, and now Israel has said that they will retaliate. So it can be interpreted as an upcoming war that is coming, which is going to be lethal, not just for that region, but for the global economy as well, global trade. We are talking about crude oil prices shooting up. We're talking about the price of basic commodities also going up, because if it is directly proportional when it comes to the fuel prices, because if the diesel fuel goes up, the price of diesel goes up, then the transportation becomes costlier, then the basic commodities like vegetable and fruits become costlier in a country like India as well. So it is quite dangerous for the entire global economy. That is part one. However, the second, that is a more optimistic point of view, is the fact that it is direct. This war that is going on is also a war of perception. Or both the Iranian leadership and the Israeli leadership have to also make their local population, domestic politics satisfied as well, because after the 7th October attack, the Israelis have been quite unhappy with Benjamin Netanyahu and his leadership of failing to get all the hostages back. So to appease them, he has already cleared out the Hezbollah leadership, which has in fact helped him regain some of his popularity that was lost after 7th October. The second is Iran. Iran has been at the receiving end of Israeli attacks, be it in Lebanon, be it in Gaza. So the Iranian public has also been quite angry, and that is why the attack that took place yesterday, to some extent, that has made the Iranian public happy as well, that Iran at least has retaliated and has come out openly. So this is the right time, apparently, according to several security experts, where a ceasefire can be brokered, because both of the sides have attacked each other. Now both of their domestic politics is satisfied to a certain extent. So it remains to be seen that the UN Security Council meeting that has been called today, the emergency meet, that will be able to bring in about a ceasefire or not. Because if not, then there is no stopping this war that is looking straight into the region of Middle East, West Asia.
All right. As you said, Akshay, UN Security Council is to hold an emergency meet on the West Asia today. Do you see international pressure having some impact on the geopolitical situation, as one big fear for US and Arab diplomats is the possibility of Israel striking inside Iran, potentially against its nuclear facilities?
Well, Lipakshi, highly unlikely that the United Nations Security Council will be of any help because it's been already 1 year of war. So far, the UNSC, all the permanent five, have not been able to come to any consensus and bring about any ceasefire. In fact, Israel has time and again spoken against the United Nations. In fact, when yesterday the General Secretary of United Nations, Antonio Guterres, had also had spoken about a ceasefire. A lot of Israeli leaders had in fact attacked him on social media as well. So the United Nations and its credibility has already suffered an irreparable loss during this conflict because whatever directives that have been issued by the UNSC, they have not been followed on the ground. Be it the ceasefire, it was broken immediately a few hours after it was announced by the United Nations. So not much is expected. The US realizes that if it jumps also openly against the Iranian regime, then it also risks a global war because Russia has been a close ally of Iran, of Syria. So it can escalate into a major war. And 200 missiles which were fired at Israel were intercepted, many of them by the Iron Dome. But the Iron Dome also does not have infinite capabilities. If let's say if not 200, if let's say 500 missiles are fired or more than that are fired
Right.
at simultaneous time, it will overwhelm Iron Dome. It can devastate Israel as well. So both the sides have to suffer losses if there is an open war. So
Right.
both of the leadership are cautious as far as an open war is concerned, and that is why it has not been declared so far.
Right, Akshay. Thank you so much for all those details.